questions.
Thank you, Dana. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Teaching Strategies for this Q&A session. My name is Gwen Cheatham, and I am one of 8 early learning solution specialists in Texas. I'm here on the call. I also have our Director of Sales, Erin Seaver, is here, and a couple of the other teaching strategies specialists, Adriana Brewer and Elisa Rodriguez. We're really happy that you've joined us today. So you can ask your questions and get all the answers that you need. Before we get started, I just kind of want to kick off with just a little bit about teaching strategies. We are a TEA approved, 100% conforming for the Texas Pre-K guidelines for the creative curriculum for Texas and El Curriculo Creativo para Texas. Our program is built upon the Texas Pre-K guidelines and the specific needs of Texas children, and also upon 40 years of childhood research and experience. It's a comprehensive, research-based curriculum that features inquiry, exploration, and discovery at the foundation of all learning. Not only do we offer the curriculum, but we also have other resources that you may have heard of. Ready Rosie, and they are part of the Teaching Strategies family, and also our gold assessment. You may have also heard that Teaching Strategies was selected as the Texas Home Learning Pre-K solution, which is giving all young learners access to the creative curriculum, cloud, and our gold assessment. In addition to those resources that are under the Teaching Strategies umbrella, we do have 2 great partnerships that I'd also like to share with you. One is Kodo Kids. They are the producer of the highest quality hands-on tools to really spark that creativity and ingenuity in your young learners in your classroom. And one of the latest partnerships that we've forged, I'm super excited about, is Marco Polo World School. Marco Polo World School is an Emmy-nominated STEAM and literacy learning program that features a robust library of over 500 video lessons, engaging online games, and thousands of learning activities for children's ages 3 to 7. So we'd be happy to share with you links so you can check out Marco Polo Learning, as well as the cloud. We're really here for you today to answer any questions you may have, and of course for you to ask of us if you need samples to be sent out to your district. We're very excited to do that for you, or to come out to your district and give a presentation or do a virtual presentation to your adoption committee. So really, I'm going to turn it back over to all of you to really ask all the questions that you have about the creative curriculum.
Good afternoon. My name is Lori Robinson. I'm with Natalia ISD. And I had a question about, so I'm aware that THL has chosen this product. So what is the difference between what's going to be offered through Texas Home Learning and what we would adopt?
Yeah, the list is pretty significant. If you want to put in the chat your email, I can send you kind of a comparison that will give you details of exactly what the differences are. Everything in THL is our cloud experience. So it's the digital curriculum, the gold assessment, our online professional development portal. Through the adoption, we have additional resources like the Ready Rosie, the Marco Polo, additional studies for those pre-K3 classrooms, and then all the resources that come with those additional studies. So additional intentional teaching experiences, books, Mighty Minutes, etc. And then obviously all the print resources as well that include, the print system with all the resources. We have a classroom to home library. So we have nonfiction big book titles that correlate directly to every study. And then with those big books, we provide 10 packs in shareable size for children to, that you can send home with children so they can experience that literature at home with their families as well. The Kodo Kid obviously is not digital, it's hands-on manipulative, so that's part of it as well as a summary. But I'll send you a list, Lori, that gives you kind of a breakdown. And THL is, for a 3-year term. Obviously, everything with the adoption is the full adoption term.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Erin,
It's gonna.
Erin, hi. We have our group of pre-K teachers here. So we're wondering, you mentioned some 10 books for students. Are those consumables? Or are they just text, or what do those include?
They are, let me just grab, see if I have one here. I do not. So they're the physical books and shareable size. Obviously, there's a big book that correlates to this. So it's kind of like a class set. We have 10 as kind of the standard issue. Obviously, if your classroom sizes are larger, we can work with individual districts to make sure that you get enough for a classroom set. So you can send these home with children so they can kind of bridge what they're learning in the classroom with their families and go through the nonfiction titles that directly correlate to the studies at home. Does that answer your question? Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I have an additional question. We are a pre-K 3-4 district. Could you talk to me about what our teachers would receive that would be different by developmental stage? Is it a completely different product, or is the same product? It's just differentiation embedded within the product?
Yeah, so it's kind of both. I know that's a pretty vague answer. Basically, with the official bid, there are 8 studies that come with every system. What we're doing for pre-K 3 or to use as additional studies are including 6 additional studies. And really the differentiation in our program. So our studies, the skill development is really written to around a progression of development and learning from birth to 3rd grade. So as you dive into, the intentional teaching experiences where where you really dive deep into skill development, you'll notice, and I know you may not be able to see this, I'll try to hold it close. We have, suggestions for English language learners, for those special ed students, but then on every intentional teaching experience, and then through our digital access, it's powered by Gold. We have what we call our color bands. So these are differentiation sequences, teaching sequences from birth to 3rd grade. So really, the program is set up to, we understand that the children come into a pre-K classroom at all different levels in skill development. And our program is really designed to meet those students where they are on that birth to 3rd continuum, and then give you the teaching sequences to meet them at that skill development level and progress them to kinder ready, the end of year outcomes, which are the TPGs, Texas Pre-K guidelines, and above, because they go up to 3rd grade. And then the power of Gold, when you're on the digital platform and you're working through, a intentional teaching experience, addressing a skill through the observation. So through your laptop, a tablet, in small group, you can quickly identify where those students are and select the level, skill development level that they're on. And through the power of Gold, it's kind of an invisible assessment is what I like to call it. It updates all the skills, all the intentional teaching experiences online. So on Tuesday, if you're covering rhyming, for example, you're documenting where those students are. On Wednesday, it will plot them on there. So you, again, observe, the next week, if you're addressing rhyme again, or whenever you do it again, it will update their color band. It'll populate the students in the color band, which is that progression of development of every student. So you'll know exactly where every single student is, so you can meet them there and progress them forward.
When you're talking about TS Gold, the assessment, what is the requirements around the calibration and the training that's required for the teachers to use that assessment?
Yeah, it's very user-friendly. Obviously, training is part of the adoption. We provide, different levels of training, whatever is best for your district. Obviously, we'll work with every single district to develop that training plan, not just on the implementation of the curriculum itself, but Gold, Ready Rosie, the whole suite you'll be trained on. We provide live training. We provide virtual training in this crazy world that we live in right now. We also have over 100 hours of training modules in our online professional development portal that you'll have access to as well. So, we'll work with every single district. Every single district is different on their needs, but we're going to support you 100%. So you can use the curriculum, the assessment, the family engagement, seamlessly and to fidelity. And that's for the entire adoption, not just the first year.
Real quick, I wanted to just mention one more thing to Lori, who asked the question about the pre-K3. We do have 6 additional studies, and I'm not sure if that was mentioned, that are completely different studies than the studies that you'll be receiving with the pre-K4 adoption. So not only do we have that, ability to differentiate and meet those students, it'll be a complete different studies, new, different Mighty Minutes, different intentional teaching experiences as well. And then we have 2 questions in the chat. I'm just going to read them out loud, Aaron, for you to answer. From Betty, she asked, in which order does the curriculum introduce the alphabet and why? That's the first question.
Betty, if you want to put in your email address, we can send you, kind of our suggested scope and sequence on, how the studies line out and then the sequencing of those skills. I think that will answer that question for you once you look at that document.
Definitely. Yeah, well, I'll put my email in the chat for sure, and we can all take a look at it. But then if you can just, at the scope and sequence, but if you can kind of just give the rationale for why it's in that particular order, because we have found differences from publisher to publisher.
Yeah, I can send you the white sheet that we have that explains the reasoning behind our alphabet knowledge. It's the sequencing of all the skills, which should answer that question for you. Typically, in general, we always like to incorporate students' letters of their names because that's what is relevant to them, but we do have a sequencing of alphabet coverage as well.
The second
I'd like to pigtail off that in terms of, your other resources for Texas Home Learning is Amplify, which we use in Aldine. We're just doing a curriculum rollout. And so with the science of reading, the philosophy on that is a sounds first approach. So with that, is there cohesiveness around that philosophy in literacy foundational development with creative curriculum in the Texas Home Learning resource to the Amplify?
There is, just philosophically, but we have written up kind of a correlation document with those resources that are in the THL, as well as other programs. So we can share that with you, Ray.
Thank you for answering about the differences between pre-K3 and pre-K4. But I was wondering, so that wouldn't be an additional purchase. It comes included when we adopt for pre-K3, right?
That's right.
Okay. And then my next question is about, we are a Head Start district. And is there, and I know the early childhood outcomes framework is aligned to the TPG, but is there an additional document that shows that Head Start from your company or the Head Start alignment?
Yeah, absolutely. we're the leading market share provider in Head Start, so we have all that supporting documentation for you.
Perfect. I know that's what a board would ask me, so
Absolutely.
I want to make sure we have that.
There was a second question from Betty that said, what would you say is the ratio between hands-on activities to direct teaching?
I would have to ask our content people of a ratio. I know that hands-on investigative approach is part of every day of our curriculum, as well as teaching, obviously. I don't know if there's a ratio, but I can ask our content and share that with you, Betty, for sure, if there is. I know that, play-based, hands-on investigative approach is the foundation of our curriculum. So you're going to see that in every day, every part of every day, really. And then obviously, small group instruction is really teacher-led, which is, again, part of every day of our instruction. So you'll see that as well.
The next question is from Sophia Lopez. It says, are hands-on materials included?
They are. That's the Kodo, hands-on manipulative. So the Kodo toolkit that we have is really a different type of manipulative experience. It's directly tied to the studies. We have lessons and activities written for teachers to use with those, to incorporate them into the studies and into different circle, activities or center activities.
Betty asked if that was Kodo. Yes, it's Kodo. It's Kodo Kids. It's Kodo Kids. And we can also, if anyone's interested, we can share more specifics about, what that looks like, show how they're tied to each study as well.
Is the creative curriculum as provided through Texas Home Learning, is it different, or is it the same product as what we would, I guess, say purchase from Teaching Strategies for a curriculum adoption?
Yeah, the curriculum is the same. I mean, it's our digital version of our curriculum, so the studies are the same, the resources are the same. It's the additional resources that are tied to the curriculum that are not included in that THL that come with the adoption.
And those are what?
That's like Ready Rosie, Marco Polo, the additional studies, for those pre-K 3 classroom settings, or additional studies to use however you see fit. So those are the resources that are not part of the Texas Home Learning.
Well, you also have Marco Polo and the readers.
Yeah.
All of the readers that are not included with the THL.
And Ray, I can send you kind of a list that shows that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you for those that are providing your emails in the chat, and we'll send you. We can send you like a document that's going to show you a picture and kind of show you, what all the manipulatives look like. And also, I'll throw this out there. Anybody that hasn't had an opportunity to actually see a creative curriculum presentation, we would love to do that for you, even if it's just one-on-one to you as the director or the coordinator, or if you want to set it up for your whole team, or if you want to hear it first, we're happy to do that. Just reach out to us. me or Aaron, and he can get you to your specific early learning solution specialist, and they can set that up and kind of walk you through more of the program and kind of show you how it all works together, or go online, show you live. And I know we were really asked to answer questions here today, but I'm kind of wishing that we were able to show y'all a little bit more to give you a better answer. I know I'm a visual learner, so I do better when I can see it than just hear it.
Just a time check, we're at our 20 minutes, so anyone is more than welcome to stay if you have more questions for the teaching strategies team. But I'm just going to go ahead and re-share the Zoom room list. So if you are here and would like to visit with another publisher, we're going to transition for the next 20-minute segment. But again, you're welcome to stay here if you have more questions for our teaching strategies.
I haven't been able to capture every single email that was put in the chat. Are you going to be capturing that chat for us?
I am capturing the chat. We're not going to share full participant lists unless participants share their email. So if anybody wants to share their email, they're welcome to, and they can share that in the chat for follow-up.
Yeah, I'm sitting here trying to write them down, and I didn't want to miss anybody. So several of the participants have put their email address in the chat, so we can follow up with those documents.
Yes.
I wrote down some of the email addresses too, Gwen, so we can compare lists.
You probably got more than I did. If Dana sends this to us, that'll be great. Then we won't have to worry about trying to write so quickly.
Thank you, everybody.
And Dana, just let us know I'm not sure when the next session begins. I'm sure you'll kick us off.
Yeah, we're allowing for a 5-minute transition and starting at 2:25. But if anybody is still on or already on and has questions, I mean, people can jump in with questions. You don't need me to kick it off. If anybody's here and has questions, let's use more time to get those answered.
Can you talk a little bit to how the products in Proclamation 2021 are going to be different or the same as Texas Home Learning? Are there similarities and differences?
Are you ready? You want to jump into that, or you want me to do a?
Sorry, I was muted. If you want to put your, is it Alicia?
Yes.
I want to pronounce your name correctly. Thank you. If you want to put your email in the chat, we can share a document that we have that shows the differences. But really, the Texas Home Learning Initiative has our digital curriculum. It gives you access to our gold assessment platform and then our online professional development portal. We do have additional curriculum resources as part of the adoption. For example, there is additional studies, and then all the resources that come with those studies. So the intentional teaching experiences, Mighty Minutes, books, book discussion cards that we are offering through the adoption that will not be in THL. In addition to that, we have partnership, with Marco Polo Learning, which supply, is a student-facing digital app that gives them over 500 video lessons, over 3,000 gamed activities. That's not part of the THL agreement. We own Ready Rosie, so Ready Rosie is part of the adoption for the life of the contract. You'll have Ready Rosie model moment playlists designed for sharing with families, tied to every single study, every single intentional teaching experience, which is the skill development. So every single pre-K guideline, every single skill has a model moment video tied to it, along with our home school to home library collection. So our 9 big book titles, we have shareable size class sets that you'll be able to have through the adoption. Ready Rosie, we have model moment playlist videos tied to those as well. And then all the print components that come with the adoption obviously are not part of THL. So, the entire system, the resources that I just talked about. We also have a partnership with Barefoot Books that provides over 100 additional literature titles that are not part of that THL experience that you'll have access to through the adoption. And then we have a partnership with Kodo Kids. It's hands-on manipulatives that are tied with activities and lessons to every study, and then centers as well that you'll have through the adoption that you would not have through THL. But I can also send you, just a 1-page, 2-page document that shows the list. And then the term obviously is the difference as well. THL's through 2023. The adoption runs, through 8 years if there's not an extension.
Thank you so much.
Just trying to monitor the chat as well. New videos for Ready Rosie, yes. So all those videos that I just referenced tied to the playlist tied to studies, the intentional teaching experience, model moment videos, and then the classroom to home library connection, model moment supporting videos of that are all new content in Ready Rosie for us.
There was also a question in the chat about the Spanish materials. So we are 100% conforming to the Texas pre-K guidelines for both our programs in English and Spanish. So we have the creative curriculum for Texas as well as its Spanish equitable counterpart, which is El Currículo Creativo para Texas. So it's going to give you, so everything, comes in print in both Spanish and English. So, someone said they missed the question, does adopting the creative curriculum give a district access to all THL components? So the THL components, everyone has access to those. So it's kind of opposite. You can have access to THL, but with adoption, you get access to all of the resources that Aaron mentioned, all of the print resources, all the literature, the Mighty Minutes, the 298 intentional teaching experiences, Ready Rosie, Marco Polo, Kodo Kids manipulatives.
But it also gives, obviously you also have access to everything that's in THL, just extended for the 8-year term of the adoption. Didn't send a video. Yeah, if you want to pop your email in the chat, we can send you a video of everything that the adoption has to offer. I think the question was, what's the difference between THL and the adoption? We can also send you that information as well.
Someone said they used to be a trainer for Gold. Betsy, great to hear. Since nobody else has any questions, I just wanted to mention that my name is Gwen Cheatham. Aaron Seaver, he's our director of sales. I'm an early learning solution specialist. Like, we're here to support all of you and all of your districts. And if you're interested in receiving samples and you haven't already received samples, please reach out to us and let us know. We're also available to do presentations via Zoom to you as the director or the coordinator, or to your whole committee. And we're happy to do that. We're also doing some presentations in person. So if that is what you desire, we can do that as well. But we'd love to actually give you a full presentation of the program, because it kind of helps, show all the resources and how they work together, as well as Ready Rosie and Gold and our Kodo Kids materials and the Marco Polo World School as well.
And Tammy, we will reach out to you to schedule that presentation. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So creative curriculum is, I love creative curriculum. I'm going to start with that. And it's not there are districts I know that are looking for turn the page, this is everything the teacher says and does program. So I think of creative curriculum as a thinking curriculum, and it requires teacher thinking and reflectiveness. So when we think about that initial training, what would you say is the ideal year of PD to have a really implementation with fidelity?
Throughout the year?
If you planned out a year of PD for a school district, what might that look like?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a first implementation of the creative curriculum itself. We have a large staff of professional development trainers and coaches throughout the country and here in Texas as well. So really it also depends on the district, the availability, but it's training around the creative curriculum itself. It's training around Gold. It's Ready Rosie. It's all the components that are part of this adoption. And we're going to work with every district. And it's not just the first year. We're going to provide support throughout, the life of the adoption to really make sure that the curriculum and all the resources are implemented with fidelity. We have training staff. We also have a staff of coaches that work hand in hand with, coaching teachers, coaching coaches, to make sure that the creative curriculum is implemented with fidelity and successfully.
One of the other things that I know was mentioned earlier is we do have online PD that's like 24/7, which gives teachers access to all different types of topics, whether if they want to know more about Gold, if they want to know how to get started with the creative curriculum, there's a getting started creative curriculum for Texas, all different types of topics for teachers to dive into and really learn more. Because I know when we implement and we come out, it's a little overwhelming always when you're implementing a new program. And so they may want to dive deeper and learn more, or think, oh gosh, what did I hear that day? I want to go back and review. So they have that available to them at any time to go back and, look at a whole series or just a snippet to just kind of refresh or to kind of figure out how, how to maybe work their interest areas, or how to incorporate more writing in the classroom. I mean, there's all types of suggestions, not only in our PD offering that's online, but also in the 6 foundation volumes that actually come with the program. So that right there is a wealth of PD in itself to kind of help it support those teachers, no matter what their struggle may be in the classroom, and kind of help guide those instructional decisions that they're making daily. I saw Betsy nodding yes, so you must be familiar with those foundation volumes.
And then we have former Texas early childhood administrators on staff that know the ins and outs of scope and sequence, and incorporating it into that is going to be offered as well.
So the next question was, what focus do you have on culturally relevant pedagogy in your materials? Yeah, so, first, the El Currículo Creativo para Texas, the Spanish program, it's not just a translation, it's a complete Spanish curriculum that offers the same learning experience in curriculum materials that have been trans-adapted really to meet the cultural and linguistic needs of the Spanish-speaking children and families, in addition to, the thought that went into selecting our children's books, libraries, across the board. We have a Spanish author who actually is from Texas originally, so she did a lot of work in that area of making sure that the El Currículo Creativo para Texas isn't just a translation. It's truly trans-adapted to meet those needs of those Spanish-speaking students and families.
Did you get the next question? Who collaborated with the Spanish?
Yeah, so Clarissa Martinez is our Spanish author. Obviously, we partnered with a lot of educators, that teach in that Spanish setting to really get great ideas and incorporate those ideas as well. So it's a whole team. Obviously, it's not just one person that really had input and feedback and on our Spanish curriculum.
I like to say that our Spanish curriculum is also very sensitive to the different cultures here in Texas. And of course, it's since Erin just mentioned, it's trans-adapted. It's also unbiased. That's what I want to say.
One of the other things about the creative curriculum is using that study-based investigative approach. It's using, real world, real life, the studies investigate, water, wheels, things that kids see in their everyday lives. So it's not, talking about, taking a vacation to Paris or something that, like we know that our kids may not be experiencing that, or even going to the fair. They may not have the ability to do those things. So it's really making it where they're easily transferred to home too, where you can talk about water and how do you use water at home, brushing your teeth or cooking or swimming, things like that. So it really does give you that kind of takes into effect that it's easy for them to use those materials. It's like every day. It's not something that's, makes the the cultural aspect of it, kind of like null. Okay, we have a question. How do you address differentiating instruction? I'm gonna let Erin take that, but I think that that's one of the things that teaching strategy does the best.
Yeah, so through every single one of our resources, we have differentiation integrated in it. But when you're really diving into the skill, we developed our curriculum skill development around our what we call our color bands, which are progressions of development and learning. These are the intentional teaching cards, which address every single skill in the Texas Pre-K guidelines. Every single, and I'll try to hold it up to the camera, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but every single intentional teaching experience has English language learner callouts, special ed callouts, but you'll notice at the bottom we have these color-coded teaching sequences. So this is really the heart of our progressions of development and learning. Our progressions go from birth to third grade. So really wherever your students are on that continuum of skill development, we give you, we help identify where they are through our goal assessment platform. That's kind of that invisible assessment through observations. And then we identify where those students are on that progression so you can meet them there and then follow the teaching sequences to help them advance to, you know, the end of year outcome to Kinder Ready. But the color bands are part of every intentional teaching experience, but also they are, I would say, the gas and the engine behind our goal assessment platform that allows you to identify and meet those students exactly where they are and then advance them forward.
And Jamie, we'll reach out to you to set up that Zoom presentation.
All right. Thank you. I was just gonna mention that one. Thank you.
And we were also asked if we're compatible with Google or
Schoology.
Schoology.
Yeah, so we have our single sign-on LMS integrations, all the technical things that districts require nowadays. So we do have those integrations as well. Give a shout out to Tara. I think we visited on the phone a week or so ago. Hello.
Hey, Erin, how are you?
Hi. Good. It's good
Great.
to put a face with a name.
Yeah, I actually have a meeting with David tomorrow, and I just emailed him and said, do we need to invite Erin on this? Because I have a lot of really specific questions. And
Send me an invite.
yeah, I'll get a Zoom.
Up?
As soon as I get off this Zoom, I'll create another Zoom link and send it to you guys.
Perfect. I'll be happy to join.
Yeah, we're working on our grant, our ESD Pathway 2 grant. And
oh, awesome.
Yeah, it's going to heavily involve teaching strategies and lots of training and PD and things like that. So
perfect. We're
working on a plan.
Yep.
So I'm just listening. I'm kind of sitting back and listening to what you're, the questions that districts are asking. I love Betsy's question about a full year PD plan. What's that going to look like? Because we're going to have to figure that out and get it nailed down so we can present that to TEA and get our teachers on board. So I'm just eavesdropping right now.
Sounds good.
I want to jump in with a time check. We're at 2:45 Central, so anybody who's on, that's the end of our second block, more than welcome to stay on with teaching strategies and ask more questions, or if you're looking for another product as well and you want to meet with another vendor, you can go ahead and transition, and we'll start the third block of 20 minutes at 2:50 Central.
And Dana, it's always great to see and hear your voice.
It's always great to see you as well, Erin.
So the next meeting start at 10 till, is that right?
Yes, we're allowing for a 5-minute transition.
Great.
Do you want to just jump right in like we did last time, or do you want me to wait till 2:50 and then you guys have an opportunity to formally introduce yourself? What do you prefer?
Do you want me to to introduce Erin, or how do you want to handle
Sure,
it?
you can start off the way you did the first one.
Okay.
Great, we'll do 2:50 then. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves.
We didn't answer. She's still on. See if we need to answer Gia's question. Did she drop her email in here anywhere?
She probably did.
Gia looks like she's from
Carrollton Farmers.
Farmers Branch, or CF,
Yeah.
Sci-Fair maybe. All right, look her up and see if I can reach out to her about that.
All right, we'll get started on our next round of questions. I'm Dana, I'm here from TEA for any technical support or questions, but I'm gonna kick it over to the Teaching Strategies team, who you are here to learn more about.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining Teaching Strategies for this question and answer session. My name is Gwen Cheatham. I'm one of 8 early learning solution specialists in Texas. I serve in North Texas, but we also have on the Zoom today Elisa Rodriguez and Adriana Brewer, as well as Aaron Seaver, who's our Director of Sales here in Texas. Teaching Strategies is the publisher of the TEA approved, 100% conforming to the Texas Pre-K guidelines, the Creative Curriculum for Texas, and El Curriculo Creativo para Texas. So we offer our programs in both English and in Spanish. Our program was built upon the Texas Pre-K guidelines, the specific needs of Texas children, and upon 40 years of research. We are a comprehensive curriculum that features inquiry, exploration, and discovery at the foundation of all learning. In addition to our curriculum, we also have, which comes in print, we also have the Creative Curriculum Cloud, which gives you access to all the digital components, as well as 2 other resources I want to tell you about, which is the Gold Assessment, as well as the Ready Rosie family engagement piece, which many of you probably have heard of Ready Rosie. They are a Texas-based company, and they are part of the Teaching Strategies family. So with adoption, you'll get access to Ready Rosie for the life of the adoption, as well as Gold. 2 other partnerships I'd like to mention before we kick it over to you all for your questions is we do have a partnership with Kodo Kids. They are the producer of the highest quality hands-on tools. So those manipulatives to your classroom to really spark creativity and ingenuity in your young learners. And Marco Polo World School. Marco Polo World School, it's an Emmy-nominated STEAM and literacy learning program. It offers over 500 video lessons, 3,000 games, really just tons and tons of hands-on activities as well for your students in your classroom. So we're not really here to do a presentation. We're here to answer your questions. But if you'd like a presentation or if you need samples in your district, please let us know in the chat. We'd be happy to send those to you and come out to your districts to do presentations or do those via Zoom as well. So I'll turn it over to all of you. Hey, y'all are super quiet today. What questions have you been wondering about the creative curriculum?
We would love to set up a presentation. We will reach out to you to do that. So thank you for that comment.
One other thing I'd like to mention is you may or may not have heard that Teaching Strategies was selected as the Texas Home Learning Pre-K solution. So our Creative Curriculum Cloud and our Gold Assessment are being offered to all young learners across the state of Texas. That is for 3 years. But we also have, of course, the Pre-K adoption, which will last for 8 years. So we have been asked a little bit about what the difference is. So that's definitely one difference. So the next question we have is, are you compatible with Google Classroom and Spanish component available?
Yes and yes. We are compatible with Google, with LMSs, single sign-on, all of the tech requirements. Spanish component, we have El Curriculo Creativo para Texas. It's our equitable counterpart to the Creative Curriculum for Texas. So both went through the review process. Both are 100% meeting the standards. El Curriculo Creativo para Texas is not just a translation of the curriculum. It's a complete Spanish curriculum, which offers all the same learning experiences and curriculum materials that they've all been trans-adapted to meet the cultural and linguistic needs of the Spanish-speaking students and families. In addition to that, We have equitable counterparts in Spanish of all the model moment videos that are part of Ready Rosie, all the learning games and activities that are part of Marco Polo. So you'll see, you know, the Spanish resources are just as robust and appropriate for the Spanish speaking kiddos. We are device agnostic. So I saw available across iPad, Mac, Android, Chromebooks. Yes, we are. Do we delay billing? Yes, I think we can. We typically don't. It's not our normal policy, but we've definitely done it on a case-by-case basis, so that we should be able to accommodate you there. Pre-K guidelines, are the pre-K guidelines included, specified in the lessons on a day-to-day basis? Yes, not just in the lessons themselves, but every single resource that you pull in. So we have Mighty Minutes for whole group, you know, transitions. They all have been correlated to the pre-K guidelines, and they're included on all those specific resources. Our intentional teaching experiences that help drive that skill development all have the pre-K guidelines included on those at point of use. Book discussion cards, pretty much all the resources, not just the teacher guides, have the pre-K guidelines included at point of use. Print and online available. Every single resource that's available in print is also available online. So you'll have that as well. Lesson plans. Yeah, so we do have lesson plans included. You know, we work with districts to also, you know, tie into your scope and sequence needs as well. So we have, you know, scope and sequence for our entire program as well. Trying to keep up with the chat.
Yeah, print and online. Everything's available in print and online. The next question is, do you have themes and teacher edition books?
Yeah, so our program is investigative study-based approach. So we have 8 different studies that come with the official bid. So you'll have access to those teacher guides, as well as we've included additional studies, 6 additional studies that you can either pull into your pre-K4 classrooms, or if you have a pre-K3 classroom, a lot of districts will use those 6 additional studies in the pre-K3 setting with all their resources. So all the books, all the intentional teaching experiences, all the Mighty Minutes, everything that comes with a study. For those 6 studies, they'll use those in a pre-K3 setting, so they don't have to duplicate studies from one year, from that pre-K3 year to the pre-K4 year, if you have that set up in your district.
Those studies are also, they're housed in like what we call like a little garage. So that was kind of a question as well. So that's how they come stored. Everything comes in a little garage
per study, I think.
setup. And then are Spanish and English part of one kit? If not, what is the cost difference?
Yeah, so we have a English system, a Spanish system, and then if you're looking for kind of the one system, and I can, if you want to drop your email in the chat, I can send you the pricing. But we do have a kind of a bilingual system, so to speak. So for English and then for Spanish, depending on what you buy, with pricing for that.
There was also a question about, does your assessment support students that are virtual learners, and can they be assessed virtually? That's a great question. The answer is yes. I'll let Aaron explain more.
Repeat that question. Where is that one?
Does your assessment support students that are virtual learners, and can they be assessed virtually? So that would be part of
yeah, absolutely. So the gold assessment, and then partnered with our family portal, our family app, allows you to assess through observations. So the family app is a 2-way communication tool. So part of our family engagement platform, I think it's more than just family engagement. It's really family involvement, but we have a lot of different resources that you can share with families. So from, the Marco Polo app, the Ready Rosie Model Moment videos, we have written all of our lesson plans, our intentional teaching experiences, our Mighty Minutes in family-friendly language so that you can share with families through our family app. And they can share back. So you can ask, in a virtual setting, send a guided learning plan home and ask the parents to share back, their, evidence of a student's work in video, photo, or just a write-up. And the power of the gold assessment in our family portal is at that point when they share back an asset like a video of a student, working through alphabet knowledge, for example, you can then pull that asset into gold assessment as an observation, and it documents and updates our progression of development and learning for that student. So when you pull a alphabet knowledge intentional teaching experience, it will plot that student on the progression of development and learning. Our progressions of development and learning are our differentiation at every skill level. So individualized instruction is a huge part of our program. So when you pull that into the alphabet knowledge, the gold assessment invisibly is updating the system. So next time you pull alphabet knowledge in the classroom or assign it to the family in a virtual setting, it will drop the student on that progression of development and learning. The progression is from birth to third grade. So it allows you to truly meet the students exactly where they are and then progress them forward to kinder ready or beyond.
The next question, do you all have a progress monitoring system?
Yeah, so that's that gold assessment for the teacher to progress monitor. And it, like I said, it updates and drops those students on their appropriate level of skill development in the system. We also have, a student facing progress monitoring, is student self progress monitoring in our Marco Polo app through the over 500 video lessons and gaming activities.
How many letters are introduced per week?
I can actually send you, if you want to drop your email address in the chat, I can send you our scope and sequence, which has the alphabet sequence in there as well. Time, spaced out through the entire year. So I can email that to you if you want to drop your email address in the chat. Thank you. Did we run out of gas on the questions? It was fast and furious there.
One of the things I can show you here, I don't know if y'all can see, but like here's how the studies are housed. When I was talking about garages, that might have sounded kind of unusual, but that's how the studies are housed. Well, again, we would love to come out to your districts and or give you a presentation virtually. We were here today just to kind of do a Q&A, but we would love to actually show you the resources, show you how it all works together. by doing a presentation either virtually or in person. And of course, we'd also love to send samples to you and to your committee members for them to actually review so they can get their hands on all of those mighty minutes and the intentional teaching experiences that we're talking about. Thank you. And we're saving everything that y'all are putting in the chat, so we'll be able to send sample, touch base with you about samples, like what your needs are, if you'd like a presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Amanda, thank you. Tammy, you can contact Aaron, or or if you put your email in this chat, we'll reach out to you, make sure that we put you in touch with the early learning solution specialist that works with your district.
Yeah, if you want to shoot me an email, I'll drop my email in the chat right now, and I can set you up with a presentation in your local rep. Make sure I spelled that right. Yes.
I think that this may have been mentioned earlier, but all of the resources that come with the program, they have all of the Texas pre-K guidelines listed at point of use. So in your teaching guides, in your Mighty Minutes, on your intentional teaching experiences, all of those are there right at point of use. So you always know which skills and guidelines you're working on.
There's another question related to assessment in the chat. I don't know if you guys saw that one yet.
What is your assessment component tied to the curriculum?
Our assessment component is our gold assessment platform. So through gold assessment, it is really tied deeply into the curriculum. So when you are going through any skill development, it's not only identifying where the students are in the progression of development and learning from birth to third grade, and identifying that for the teacher so you can meet them exactly where they are. And then through our teaching sequences, help work them to that kinder ready level. But it also helps, through that helps inform instruction. So that's our assessment component that's part of this adoption.
As a time check, we're at 3:10, which is the end of our third block. Participants are welcome to stay and continue to ask teaching strategy questions in the chat or coming off of mute, or you are welcome at this time to transition to another publisher if you have other questions for other publishers. But we'll start with another formal session at 3:15. And we'll go ahead and get started with our next round of questions. You are welcome to leave questions for the teaching strategies team in the chat, or come off of mute, turn on your camera if you'd like, and ask questions directly. looking forward to hearing everybody's questions for teaching strategies.
Hi, everybody. My name is Gwen Cheatham, and I am one of 8 early learning solution specialists here in the state of Texas. I'm also joined by our Director of Sales here in Texas, Aaron Seaver, and 2 of our other early learning solution specialists, Elisa Rodriguez and Adriana Brewer. Thank you so much for joining us for this Q&A session. If you have a need for samples or to have a presentation where we actually walk you through the program and show you all the resources, we're happy to set that up for you. We can do it either virtually or come to your district, either way. But before we get started, I just wanted to give you a little introduction to Teaching Strategies if you haven't heard of us. We are the publisher of the Creative Curriculum for Texas and its equitable Spanish counterpart, El Currículo Creativo para Texas. We are TEA approved as 100% conforming to the Texas Pre-K guidelines. And our programs are really built upon those Texas Pre-K guidelines and the specific needs of Texas children and upon 40 years of research. We are a complete curriculum, and we're research-based, and we feature that inquiry, exploration, discovery, all that hands-on learning. That's at the foundation of our program. In addition to the creative curriculum, which comes in English and Spanish, print, and digitally, we also have 2 other resources in our family. One is the Gold Assessment, as well as Ready Rosie. Many of you may have heard of Ready Rosie. They are a Texas-based company, and we acquired them in 2019. So they are part of the Teaching Strategies family. In addition to those resources, we also have 2 exclusive partnerships, one with Kodo Kids. They are the producer of the highest quality hands-on tools. So these are wonderful manipulatives to help really spark creativity and ingenuity in your young learners in your classroom. We also have a brand new partnership with Marco Polo World School. They are an Emmy-nominated STEAM literacy learning program that features a robust library of over 500 videos and engaging online learning games and thousands of activities which are geared towards your learners between ages 3 and 7. So enough about us. We'd like to hear from you and answer any of the questions that you may have.
Well, we have the first question. It's how many days of PD are required for implementation?
We don't really have a requirement. Obviously, we work with districts to make sure that you have enough PD to successfully implement our program, along with Gold and all the other resources. Typically, if someone asks for a recommendation, I would say probably 2 days, just to really get a deep dive and get everyone going. But we are going to support you through the life of this adoption with professional development, coaching, and give you multiple options, really to make sure that it's implemented with fidelity and success. So in addition to, face-to-face professional development, we have virtual professional development with a live person. We also have online professional development portal that you'll have access to for the life of the adoption, which provides over 100 hours of professional development courses through our online portal, available 24/7 on demand. So you'll be able to have that at your use as well through the life of the adoption. In addition to professional development and training on implementing and using the program to fidelity, we also have coaches that are trained coaches that will help coach teachers, coach administrators at your use for the life of the adoption. We also have a tech support team that supports any kind of technology questions as well. So we're here to support you to make sure that you implement successfully and support you for the term of the adoption.
The next question is, what do you offer in the area of social and emotional curriculum supports?
Yeah, so social emotional learning and development is one of the foundational pillars of the creative curriculum for Texas. We have our first study, the beginning of the year, Building Your Classroom Community, that really focuses heavily on building that foundation of social emotional learning skills and developmenting those. And then we bookend the year with our Getting Ready for Kindergarten study, which again builds those social emotional learning skills to get those kids ready for that transition into kindergarten. But in addition to that, we don't have social emotional learning, in isolation as part of a day. It's throughout the curriculum, throughout every experience in the curriculum. So you're going to see social emotional tie-ins in the teacher guides. You're going to see them in our Mighty Minute resources. You're going to see them in our intentional teaching experiences. We treat social emotional learning just like every other skill. So we not only address those skills, but we give differentiation tips and suggestions to meet those students where they are on that progression of development and learning, which we like to call our color bands, that ranges from birth to third grade. So we meet those students with, like every skill, our social emotional skills, where they are on that development cycle of that skill, and then progress them forward. Our books have book discussion cards with social emotional learning tie-ins to every title that we have as well. So you're going to see it throughout, and not just treat it as a part of a day.
The next question is there a separate pre-K 3 curriculum?
Yeah, so with the adoption, so we have 8 studies in our core curriculum that we have officially bid. But we're also going to give you access to 6 additional studies. For a lot of districts will use those for that pre-K 3 classroom, so you don't have to repeat studies. If you don't have pre-K 3 settings, you can use them as additional studies, study topics in your pre-K classrooms, but you'll have access to those 6 additional studies with all the resources. So all the intentional teaching experiences, the Mighty Minutes, the books, book discussion cards, etc. So that's what we have pulled together for you for the pre-K 3 curriculum.
It's late in the day, everybody's tired. One other thing I'd like to mention, if you haven't heard, Teaching Strategies was selected as the Texas Home Learning Pre-K solution. So it allows all young learners across the state of Texas to have access to the Creative Curriculum Cloud and the Gold Assessment for 3 years. So we have had questions around that and how that differs from the adoption that's going on in Texas. We do have another question. How do you address cultural differences or children with disabilities? Good question.
Yeah, so we have cultural differences in children with disabilities, suggestion callouts, and skill development. But our programs, the El Curriculo Creativo para Texas, was really built and trans-adapted. It's not a translation of our English program. It is a complete Spanish curriculum with the same learning experiences and materials that have been trans-adapted to meet those cultural and linguistic needs of all students. So you're going to see specific call-outs for the cultural differences in terms of skill development, along with children with disabilities as well. And then in addition to that, when we are teaching skills, we have a progression of development and learning from birth to third grade, so you can really meet those students where they are. Powered through our goal assessment, it helps identify where those students are and plots them on their progression. That way you can meet them where they are and advance them forward.
Someone asked what kind
Greta,
of physical samples can you receive? We have a complete sample box of English as well as a complete sample box of Spanish that we can send out to your district or to your committee members.
Yeah, and if you want to drop your email in the chat, Greta, we can reach out to you and get you exactly what you need.
Throughout the curriculum, like Erin mentioned, we have call outs to help English language learners, to help including all of our special populations. But in addition to all of that that's in the teacher guide and in the resources, and in addition to those teacher guides, we have 6 foundation volumes that actually touch on different topics like interest areas, literacy, mathematics. Those are really like 6 professional books of professional development as a resource for teachers. So when you are needing strategies to bring into your classroom or to help you make those instructional decisions, you have those foundation volumes to fall back on. If you're like looking for ways to possibly, like, say, incorporate more writing into your day, or if you're wanting to know, how do I set up my interest areas and what should go where and those kind of things. So those are a great resource to really help give you the tools that you need to meet every single learner as well, in addition to how the resources also scaffold that instruction. Thank you, Stephanie. We'll get samples out to you. So we're saving all of the emails that we're getting in the chat. So we'll be able to respond to everybody and make sure that we're sending you the samples that you need or any other information that we promised you. Are the teacher resources available in print and digital format? They are. All of the resources are available in print and in our digital format, which is our creative curriculum cloud. That's also where you'll find the gold assessment is housed. It's all under, the myteachingstrategies.com platform. You'll have access to your Ready Rosie model moment videos as well. Everything's housed right there in one place, your two-way family communication and so forth. So it makes it really easy to plan. We have a digital planning tool as well. You can search online by skill or by pre-K guideline to pull up every single resource. Say that, if you're looking up shapes or you want to know or alphabet knowledge, you can search any of those topics or by pre-K guideline to pull up all the resources that would help you with that instruction.
Yeah, and then Cindy's asking, how does TEA differ from the adoption? Basically, the THL partnership contains our digital curriculum and then our gold assessment, access to the gold assessment platform, and our online professional development platform as well. Those are available through November of 2023. The adoption contains all those resources through obviously the 8-year contracted term of the adoption, if it's not extended. If it's extended, obviously longer. Those are all available through the adoption as well. With the adoption, you'll have access to the additional studies for the pre-K3s and then all the resources that go with those. So 6 additional studies with all the intentional teaching experiences, Mighty Minutes, books, book discussion cards. We also have a partnership with Barefoot Books that gives you access to 100 additional literature titles in addition to the library that comes with the curriculum. Our partnership with Marco Polo provides you, the access to the Marco Polo app. That's part of the adoption. That is not part of THL. So that's over 500 learning lessons with over 3,000 learning games, English and Spanish. and then the Ready Rosie partnership as well. Ready Rosie is our platform, so you'll have access to Ready Rosie for the adoption as well. So, and with that Ready Rosie integration into the creative curriculum, you're going to receive model moment playlists that you can push out to families tied to every study. So every study that is in the creative curriculum, you'll have model moment playlist videos tied to every single skill. So every single intentional teaching experience. And then you'll also get access to our school to home library. That also has model moment playlist videos tied to it that you can push out to videos. And that school to home library basically gives you shareable size 10 packs of our 9 big book nonfiction titles that you can send home with your kiddos so they can experience that vocabulary, study topics, investigations at home with their families. In addition to all of that, obviously all the print resources are not part of that THL partnership. So everything that I just mentioned is all available in print as well. So you'll have that with your systems. Plus our Kodo, we have a partnership with Kodo Kids, which is our hands-on manipulatives that tie directly to every study with activities and lessons written for you to pull them into the studies and into centers. So you'll have access to that as well. Did I leave anything out, Gwen?
No, I don't think so. The next question is, are there digital resources for students to use with iPads?
Yes. So the model moment videos are family facing. So they're basically model moment videos of skill development that students and caretakers, parents can go through at home on an iPad. The Marco Polo learning app is also a student facing. That's the over 500 video lessons, along with over 3,000 learning games and activities, songs. All is available through the iPad and any other device. All of our resources are device agnostic.
And better than us just telling you about all of these resources, we'd love to have the opportunity to present them to you, kind of show you how everything works together, go online, demo the platform, and show you how easy it is to plan and with the creative curriculum, as well as integrate and with families and integrate those Ready Rosie videos and the gold assessment. Everything's right there under one platform. So we'd love the opportunity to be invited to present to you so you can really see it firsthand and see how it all works together.
And if you'd like to dive deeper into learning about that Marco Polo partnership, we actually have a webinar this afternoon. So after you're finished here, excuse me, you can jump on the webinar. I will put a link to that webinar. It's to our Texas website, so you can scroll down and register and jump into that webinar if you're interested.
You're welcome, Cindy. Thanks for joining us. I don't know if I mentioned this in this session or the last, they're all starting to run together a little bit, but all of the Texas pre-K guidelines are printed at point of use, not only in the teacher guides, but on each and every resource. So it makes it, super easy to know exactly which guidelines you're covering that day in your lessons, as well as, going online and searching for a specific topic as well. That's easy to do by just searching, by shape or alphabet, or going in and actually putting a pre-K guideline in, and that way it'll pull up all the resources if there's a particular skill that you feel like your students need a little bit more work on.
I wanted to jump in with a time check that we're at 3:35. It is the end of the fourth block. So if anybody is on here and you would like to stay and ask some more great questions to our teaching strategies team, you are welcome to stay on with teaching strategies. But we have one more block of time reserved for you to meet with any other publishers. So we'll jump back in with teaching strategies, reintroducing themselves at 3:40. But you are also welcome to stay or to visit with another publisher now.
So it looks like, Greta, I don't know if you're still on. There's one more question. It says, would Texas Home Learning be a part of the adoption? Basically, everything that's a part of Texas Home Learning is a part of the adoption. But with the adoption, you get so much more, so many more resources, all of the print and everything that Erin mentioned. So hopefully we explained that well.
So Dana, did you get out and enjoy the snow the other day?
I most certainly did.
That a girl.
Yeah, I hope everybody on the call did as well. That was a pretty magical experience for Texas. Well, any parts of Texas that got snow. I know not all of Texas got snow the other day, but
We didn't get it. It snowed, but it didn't stick at all.
it stuck here. We had a snowball fight and a snowman, you know, like we could build a snowman. It was that good kind of snow that packed. So
Yeah,
really exciting for Texas.
I think we had 2 inches in our house. I don't know what part of Austin you live in, but the north got more, it sounded like.
I'm in the south part and we got a good amount as well.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's jump back in. We've got some new participants, quite a few popping in. We are in our last round of Q&A here with Teaching Strategies. So you are more than welcome to come off of mute, come on video and ask your questions directly. You can put your questions in the chat if you prefer that way, and I'll go ahead and let our Teaching Strategies team introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the Teaching Strategies Q&A session. My name is Gwen Cheatham, and I am one of 8 early learning solution specialists here in Texas. Joining me on the call today is Erin Siever, our Director of Sales here in Texas, as well as 2 other early learning solution specialists, Elisa Rodriguez and Adriana Brewer. We're really happy that you joined us today. And really today is about, it's your day to ask your questions and get your answers, all the things that you've wanted to know about the creative curriculum. If you would like to receive samples or if you would like a presentation in your district, please put that in the chat and we'll reach out to you and get that set up. Before we begin and turn it over to you, I'd like to just tell you just a little bit about Teaching Strategies. We are the publisher of the Creative Curriculum for Texas and El Curriculo Creativo para Texas. We are TEA approved as 100% conforming to the Texas Pre-K guidelines. The program is built upon those Texas Pre-K guidelines and the specific needs of those Texas children, as well as 40 years of research. We are a comprehensive curriculum that features inquiry, exploration, and discovery as the foundation of all learning. We also have a couple of other resources to share with you, and one is our gold assessment that really ties in to the curriculum very, very nicely and is a seamless, invisible, in the moment assessment piece and tool that you can use with your children. As well as I'd also like to tell you about Ready Rosie. They are a member of the Teaching Strategies family. We acquired them in 2019, and Gold and Ready Rosie will come with the Texas adoption. Some of you may also have heard that we have been selected by TEA as the Texas Home Learning Solution for Pre-K. So that provides all young learners across the state of Texas access to our Creative Curriculum Cloud and Gold Assessment. So that is the Creative Curriculum in a digital format. And last but not least, we do have 2 wonderful partnerships that I would like to tell you about. One is with Kodo Kids. That's our manipulatives. They are the highest quality hands-on tools to really help spark that creativity and ingenuity in your young learners. And second is our partnership with Marco Polo World School, which is an Emmy-nominated STEAM and literacy learning program that features a library of over 500 video lessons and engaging online learning games, as well as thousands of learning activities, which are focused on the ages of 3 through age 7. So I would like to now turn it over to all of you for you to ask us all the questions you'd like to ask. But just remember, we won't really be giving you a formal presentation today, but we would love, again, to be invited out or do that presentation for you via Zoom so you could really see how all of the resources work together. So I have, let's see, 1 question. So we'd be interested in a presentation and samples. Great. We've got your email address, so that's wonderful. We'll be reaching out to you. Now, y'all don't be shy. The first question is everything online? Everything is online. Everything comes digitally on the myteachingstrategies.com platform. Not only is the curriculum housed there, but also that's where you will be able to access the GOLD assessment, as well as Ready Rosie and our two-way family communication tool.
Yeah, and in addition to, everything that's available print, it's available online. We have written, so all your intentional teaching experiences, which is where you really develop those skills, all the Mighty Minutes, all your lesson plans, we have written in family-facing language or guardian-facing language that you can share with families at home, so they can dive into what you're diving into in the classroom with those students at home.
The next question is the sequence of literacy learning in Spanish authentic to learning to read in Spanish, or is it a mirror of the English approach to learning to read? That's a great question.
Yeah, so our Spanish program, it's not just a translation, it's a complete Spanish curriculum that offers the same learning experience, same materials that have all been trans-adapted to really meet the cultural and linguistic needs of those Spanish-speaking students. And we can share, whoever's interested, if you want to pop a note in the chat with your email address, we can share our scope and sequence, the suggested scope and sequence. Obviously, we're going to work with districts. We have a couple former early childhood Texas administrators that have had a wonderful life of doing the scope and sequences for districts. So they're part of the Teaching Strategies family that are available when you adopt to help work through the scope and sequence writing. In addition to obviously all the professional development trainings that we'll provide throughout the life of the adoption to help implement and successfully use the program with fidelity throughout the years that you have access to it.
The next question is, are there new units for this adoption? So you'll receive 8 studies with the pre-K adoption, and those study topics are boxes, gardening, music making, simple machines, water, and wheels, as well as you'll also receive a beginning 6 weeks, which is a building your classroom community study, and then an ending study, getting ready for kindergarten, so you can send those students off prepared to tackle kindergarten. And then you also have 6 additional studies that can be used in your pre-K4 classroom, as to substitute in and add variety, or those can be a complete pre-K3 solution. And
the studies that are part of that adoption are all new studies from the last adoption, if that's the question.
And the next question is, how is the alphabet learned?
Yeah, Vanessa, if you want to, you can either drop it in the chat or drop it directly to me, your email address. I can send you our alphabet, scope and sequence, and it shows you exactly, how we cover, obviously, the letters, how we cover the Texas pre-K guidelines tied to alphabet knowledge, and then gives the reasoning behind it as well. I can send that to you.
The next question, Aaron, is does the curriculum align and connect to CLI circle assessment?
Yes, it does. GOLD is also our assessment that is on the commissioner's list of approved assessments for the state of Texas. So through the adoption, you can continue to use Circle. GOLD is a little different, where it is a formative and summative assessment that helps inform instruction. So through the GOLD assessment and our progressions of development and learning from birth to 3rd grade, as you work on skill development, whatever skills it is throughout the year, in the GOLD assessment, it is plotting those students on that development and progression skill development. So birth to 3rd, so it's really identifying where those students are where their level of skill development is, and then giving you teaching sequences to help get them to that kinder ready level. Because we are approved assessment platform with the commissioners list, you can generate the required TEA reports through Gold and submit them to the state as well. So I guess I hope that answers your question. If not, pop another follow-up question.
Don't forget, if you're interested in receiving samples, or if you would like to have a presentation either virtually or in person, just drop that in the chat and we'll reach out to you and put you in contact with your early learning solution specialist that is responsible for your school district. Looks like we have another question. Is the literature for Spanish authentic Spanish stories, or is it just translated English stories? That's a great question.
Yeah, we have both actually as part of our literature. So you'll see true Spanish titles, authentic Spanish literature, and then we'll have titles that are, I don't know if I have the 3 Javelinas. They're bilingual titles. I do not have one here, but so, you know, Spanish, English, and then, you know, Spanish titles with English titles with Spanish translation. So we have both.
The next question is, do you have lessons that encourage bookmaking?
Yeah, so through our the Marco Polo app, we have, you know, student bookmaking activities that tie directly to those lessons. The Marco Polo app, through those, you know, part of those 500 lessons, they really take students on virtual field trips and help. And then tied to those virtual field trips, you'll see bookmaking resources, printables that you can work with students through that bookmaking process. Yes. And okay, samples. Okay, I see Melissa. We'll get you some samples. Vanessa, you as well. Bookmaking. Okay, and Maria, I'll send you that scope and sequence as well. Yes, long day. Good luck keeping it all straight now.
One other, I'll see, here's another question. Does the program come with workbooks for the students?
We don't have necessarily workbooks. We do have worksheets in the, again, tied to the Marco Polo, which is tied directly to our curriculum. So there's printable worksheets that go with those lessons as well. in English and in Spanish. Marco Polo, all of our resources are partnerships as well. So the Marco Polo equity across English and Spanish in Marco Polo and in Ready Rosie as well. But yeah, we have worksheets in that Marco Polo app that are printable.
Like letter forming and things like that. That's probably what you're looking for. Anyone who's interested, we do have, you know, a components guide that can kind of show you too, like, you know, everything that's included and kind of lays it all out for you visually. Erin, do you also want to tell them about Barefoot Books?
Yeah. So we also have a partnership with Barefoot Books. Book titles, over 100 titles. You'll see the authentic Spanish titles, the English titles, but it gives you access to over 100 additional literacy titles that, in addition to already our big collection of literature books that are part of the curriculum. So through that partnership, you'll have access to 100 additional titles, Spanish, English titles.
And for those of you that are asking about Spanish, they were the 2019 Independent Publishers Guild Award winner for diversity. So you're going to have a nice, they're going to have a nice offering of a lot of different, you know, books that are going to appeal to different backgrounds and so forth.
Any more questions that we can try to answer for you?
I'm going to jump back in from TEA just to let everybody know that we're not coming back together at all to close out the full 2-day conference. So leave this room open. Please ask your last questions for teaching strategies. But when you have all your questions answered, we are going to send out a survey to close out the conference. Look for that in your inbox. Thank you for joining us for these 2 days and for the vendor fair. Again, we'll leave the room open for a couple minutes for any lingering questions for teaching strategies.
Thank y'all. Thank you everyone for joining us. This was really your time to ask your questions and not, you know, for this to be just us, you know, throwing resources at you. So we hope we've answered your questions, and please reach out to us after today, you know, for samples, or if you have other questions that you think of later. We're here to support you and answer all of those questions. Again, to send samples and to set up presentations in your districts as well. So we thank all of y'all for joining us this afternoon. We know it's been a long day.
Thank you, Dana, and please thank Melissa and everybody else that put on this 2-day event. It was really, really informative and great. So appreciate that.
I will. Thank you, Erin. We still got a few people in, so I'm happy to stay on for another minute or two. Let me know when you want to go ahead and close the room. Here. think that's most participants
Yeah.
have left. So I'm going to pause